Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. So today we will see what is git ignore file. Okay, so when we are managing our code locally using git, okay, so we can use dot git ignore file. This dot git ignore file actually used to ignores a few files format. Okay, few file extensions or folders or something that you don't want to checking into your a remote repository. Okay, maybe a few files you need for local development. Take example, some environment variable file or something else which automatically get generated. Take example in Visual Studio Code when we are doing Visual Studio, when we are using Visual Studio Code for local development. In that case, like this ID create one folder which it maintains for configuration or user preferences. Same you might have seen in other environment or other IDs also. Automatically that ID create some folders which that ID is using to manage configurations and other settings. But we don't want to push those settings to remote repository, because as we know, like a remote repository will be pulled by multiple other fellow developers. Okay, and we don't want our change our configuration or our VS Code configuration should be pushed to their IDs, okay, if they are using it, and this is unnecessary. Okay, so sometimes such scenarios come when you don't want to push some files which is present in your local ID or local working directory. In that case, we use git ignore. So let's see what is present here. So this is very straightforward file. Okay, you have to give the path or like give the extension, or you can use this wildcard character dot and give extension. So take example, if we are giving this first line, in first line we have this particular file extension that we want to ignore. So git will not push or commit these changes if those files are present here. Okay, so it will ignore that. Okay, git, when we run git add or git commit or git push, all those this particular file whatever we will mention in the git ignore dot git ignore, so that will be not available for git to track or to push or commit. Okay, so this is very handy, like an important file, and in all our projects, like we should have at least one git ignore file. Okay, and you can see here like a few of the things we have ignored, like VS Code related, some hidden folders automatically get created like dot VS Code. Okay, or some other things like user related, some files, user specific files are there, dot SEO user, or debugging related, some folders get created automatically. So we can ignore like this. Okay, we can start dot, that means all the files which start with which ends with dot user dot SEO, or any folder, okay, which or any folder and nested folders by using this line. So this particular like format is used so that like debug folder should be ignored, but it can be start with small d or capital D. Okay, so it is a regex, you can say, like we can use regex also with this type of. Okay, and this. So for each like programming language, like there are few type of files are there which should be get automatically ignored. Take example, a new package. Okay, this folder we want to ignore, or DS store, like this particular folder get created in Mac machine. Okay, so how we can see or if you are not aware about, like in your particular programming language, which file should be by default should be ignored. Okay, on top of that you can add any number of changes. Okay, so for that there is a, you can search on Google and you will get like one GitHub repository is present. Okay, which is maintaining lot of like generic git ignore files. Okay, if you want to get some idea or inspiration, so you can like search on Google, you will get like this result, first result. Okay, and you can see here for a lot of like different programming language. For each programming language there is a dot ignore file is present. Okay, so like Drupal is there, Java is there, so Go language even is there. Okay, so if you open this Go git ignore, so you will see like these are the particular like generic files for Go language that should not get pushed into our remote repository. Okay, so we can use this template. This is nothing but a template. we can use this template, and on top of that we can modify this and add few more details. Okay, so this is introduction to gitignore file. So let's see one demo, and then we will completely understand how it's work. Okay, so take example, this initial git ignore file content, this template content all this ignore instructions. Okay, but on top of that, let's consider like we are creating some environment related file. Okay, or just for like understanding purpose, I am creating this. Okay, env file is present. Okay, consider like env dot what we can say, take example YAML. Okay, this particular file is present. Okay, inside this, like we are putting some configuration or setting that is required to running the application locally, but we don't want to push this file to the remote repository, because it may contain unnecessary like data configuration or some sensitive data which is not required in actual remote repository to run. Okay, all those things we are all these configurations we are maintaining using other tools. Okay, but for local development it is required. So take example, we have a password abc 123. Okay, something like this. Okay, let's say. Okay, now this is present on local working directory. Okay, but we don't want to push this file to remote repository, or not want to push it our like staging and local repo. So what we can do in our git ignore. Okay, so we can mention the name of this file. Okay, and name of the file was env dot yaml. Likewise, you can mention like any number of files you like to ignore. Okay, even you can use like wildcard character also. So take example $.yaml, something like this is present, or you can use like folder instruction also. So take example, after build is some of the in some of the programming language, after like compiling, so or build, like we get like build folders, bin folders, or node module folders, so that we don't want to push we don't want to push those folders into remote repository. So in that case we can ignore by using such instruction. Okay, dash means all the files, nested files, everything will be get ignored. Okay, so this is one example. So let's see like this one. Okay, so let's see the behavior before adding this. Okay, and then we will add this and see like what get changed. Okay, so we have added this file env.yaml. Let's run the git status. Okay, so we can see like it is showing like env.yaml, it is in untracked file because we have added new file. So it is showing like we need to run like git add and all those instructions. And also like we have like did some modifications, so ignore this thing. Okay, this one, but this is the file which we don't want to push into our um, local repo or remote repo. So what we can do, so in our git ignore. So let's add the name of our file env.yaml, so that it will be ignored in our git status. So if you see here, now this file has not been mentioned in git status. Okay, git ignore is mentioned because we have added this line, and it is very important to checking or like commit this file git ignore, because otherwise like these changes will be lost, and maybe there is a chances that if this changes is not present in git ignore, so next time the your this file or any other file that you like to ignore will come again, and by mistake get checking into the our remote or local repository. So it is very important to commit this. So hopefully guys you understood the importance of git ignore, why we used it, its purpose, and it is very easy to use. Okay, you have to just mention the name of file folders, or you can use like wildcard characters or regex to ignore a particular file or path or folder. Okay, so hopefully you have learned something from this video. Please guys, like, subscribe, and click on bell icon, so that it will give motivation to me to improve my videos and bring useful videos in future. Thank you.